thank you, council members and who are here and those who are not here for agreeing for signing the easement agreement and everything with Twin Star. The city will pay 50% of Twin Star's costs and Twin Star will pay the other 50% to do what we're referring to as Area Zero, which is pretty much from, I don't know, like 10 feet north of Magellan up to State Route 115, which is the last part really of what's in Ocean Shores of the White Hut to be cleaned out that is open. So that substantial completion for that project is 11/15. Fish window closes on 10/31. So they will be not picking up all of the debris on the sides is pretty much what you'll see. I've had a couple citizens call me concerned that there's debris along the ditch, and I'm just letting them know it's gonna be picked up on Tuesday or Wednesday next week, and Rollins has confirmed that as well. So that's what's happening there. If you have any call outs, if there's debris, they have to get in and out of the water by 10/31. Mucking has to be done no later than 10/31 because that's the fish exclusion window. So that has been made their priority. Any questions or comments about the ditch?
I had one, and it was that we are gonna do all the way up to.
115.
We are not, just so everyone knows that, that's, it's more like, not a question, it's more just letting you
Oh,
know.
yeah, it is not, WASDOT's is fair right of way is 25 feet from center line, and so I had a conversation with WASDOT, and it's not any additional funds for, is that what you're gonna ask? Okay, it's not any additional funds for, Rollins, because it was written in the plans for Rollins to go all the way up to the fence, all the way up to 115.
Yeah, and we don't wanna have to rely on them to do it anyways, we're already there, because it will delay it, so let's just do it all.
Yeah.
But now if you have a question.
Okay, my question is, what's happening, behind Doolittle's place?
With his project,
Yeah.
it's done, but he still, I don't believe, Scott, have
Has
you
he not
asked,
submitted the final report
have
yet?
you asked him for it yet?
I did ask him a long time ago,
Okay.
but
He has to report a final, third-party engineer's report on the head wall that he put in. And then we can officially call it complete, but the work is done. Dean's excavation is
Are
all
we-
done and out of there.
Okay, are we the inspecting agent for that?
No, he
private
has
party.
to, Mike has to hire a third-party engineer that wasn't his engineer that designed it, or our engineer that approved the design. He has to have a third-party engineer hired, and he has to pay for that and submit the report.
I thought he submitted that already, but he hasn't.
I haven't seen it. If you have it, if you can send it to
I
me.
don't, I don't, for some, whatever reason, I thought that you already, you sent it to you, but I will remind you.
Okay,
So he'll be able to use his back, I'm sorry. He'll be able to use
What's
his back
happening with the
part.
culvert under Arrow Lumber?
Arrow Lumber's culvert is going to be either a full replacement or a slip line. I'm not sure yet. Grant Osborne is still working on the plans for that, and then,
So that's a next year project?
yes, it'll be a next year project. And my plan is, it's obviously not up to me, but my plan is to take it to council. I will look at the culvert funds that we have for the street department, because I think that that is a chunk of change where we could pay for that project, because I know that there is an account for culverts. John and I were talking about that, so it's just a matter of getting an estimate to see if it actually fits within that or not,
So
but I'm not there yet.
the lumberyard piece is the last piece of this whole project.
And then we'll go on to maintenance, and we'll start maintenance next year.
So the Arrow Lumber will be next year as well.
Yeah.
As maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah, the ditch part will be maintenance, but the culvert will be done. Should be done early next year, because it is definitely failing at a pretty quick rate.
You say failing. Or,
It's collapsing.
Yeah.
oh, the culvert.
The culvert, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You looked at with the maintenance, and I was picturing how fast the vegetation is growing back in on the south side of Shoal.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
There's a lot of maintenance to be done there.
yeah, we'll get in there next year and start maintaining it. Convention Center soffits, eaves, Gray and Osborne submitted a proposal for $39,600. We used a roster to evaluate Gray and Osborne. there were 3 vendors, 3 RFQs that we pulled, Lee's, Gray, Osborne, Cobb and Fenley, and Century West. Gray Osborne was found to be the most qualified, so we had them submit the proposal for that, so that's gonna go to council on the 13th of November.
So with all the corrosion, 40,000 seems pretty cheap.
That's
That's-
not to repair it.
This is a.
It's for the engineering.
We're having to put the bid docs together.
They'll put the bid documents together, they put in 12 hours of construction management, for things that I wouldn't be able to cover, or questions I wouldn't be able to answer, so that I can pick up the phone and call them. And when it goes, there's a list of things that's in there that when it comes to council, you guys will have it ahead of time that shows what their tasks are. But yeah, bid documents, closeout documents,
What do you call them?
specs,
The Grand Osborne proposal is costing 39,600.
yeah,
Proposal's the right word.
yeah, it's for the engineering work for the project.
Now, that went out to bid before,
It did,
and what did we do, a closed doc?
that we have everything, and Gray and Osborne has all of those as well. And I think the prices were, they like between 250,000 and $1 million.
That's what my number.
Yeah, and Gray and Osborne worked with either Robert or Nick or both at the time to do an estimate, and then it went out to bid with city bid documents. And at this point, talking with Gray and Osborne and Scott, it needs to go out to bid with engineers, bid documents with an actual scope of work that says this is exactly what we need, this is the material that we need bid. So that it's, more accurate on bids that come in, yeah.
Gotta be specific,
Yeah, it has to be specific, exactly,
otherwise they get the change order book out.
yeah.
Well, I'm surprised it didn't go out with bid documents.
Yeah, it did, but I think it was just 2 groups of a bid document, right, like it wasn't concise enough.
So didn't the council approve some money for that repair and then we're on?
There's, there should be a budget for that one,
There was, we approved money.
yeah.
They've been putting it in the capital line
Yeah,
for the
that's where
convention
it is.
center.
Yeah.
It's up
Do we put
hundreds
2?
of thousands.
Yeah, it is, and I have it.
It's built up to like 600 or something at this
Okay.
point, because
It
the
might be-
first bid came in at 2.
Yeah.
Then it was gonna be 6, then it was gonna be 8, and so out of LTAC even last year, it was approved for.
I have the amount that's approved for the
I
budget,
thought 600 sounds familiar to me.
I have that in the, agenda bill, I wrote it up already, and that amount approved is in there, so.
Good, get it done before we got holes in that.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely, yeah.
And pictures, there's pictures in it. I mean, we all see what it looks like when we walk in, but pictures. Okay, so same thing for the 3 million gallon tape coating. We pulled the qualifications and scored Gray and Osborne. We scored against the SJC Alliance and Century West. Gray and Osborne did a coating for us on another, I don't think we have another 3 million gallon tank, but one of the smaller tanks, they did a similar coating for us, like in 2017 or 18. Which also makes them pretty qualified to do this. And they worked with Robert and Nick doing estimates previously, and that's going to council as well on the 13th of November, and the budget for that is about 1.8 million.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
This project will have to wait till, the summer to do.
yes, this is a project that will bid out this winter and we'll do late spring, early summer, so
Same
because it has to
soffits.
be drained at a certain time. Yeah, we wanna do the soffits when it's dry.
And hopefully we can get the grant to get that seismic rectified again after we painted it, because
Yeah,
the amount of money we spent is. It merits it.
yep. Anything else on those? The Point Ground roundabout materials have all been delivered, and as soon as streets department has appropriate weather, they're gonna go ahead and start putting that down in the roundabout to relabel everything as it is now.
When do you think that will happen?
It needs to be dry, temperature wise. Doesn't really matter, Sean said, because they can heat it up with the torch that they have to lay it down with, so we just need it to be dry enough. And they'll do the traffic, control themselves. I need to get him an aerial picture of what it needs to look like, because he doesn't have that yet. The one that he's got is more current, that doesn't have everything.
So they're just gonna remark the existing lane.
Exactly, yeah, and I've been, as far as a future change to what's there, right, because we all know that our roundabout's not perfect, we've got to have some accidents in there, and I talked to WASDOT traffic planner that does roundabouts, and he has some ideas. There's also grants. We've got an email recently about grants
Mhm.
that you can get based on traffic accidents in your city. And I looked at ours, and we really don't have very many traffic accidents reported at all in that roundabout. To the point that, honestly, if we were to do a big revision of that, and it cost, I don't know, over 500,000, $1 million+ to redo a roundabout, which it probably would, I don't know if it would pass council based on the number of accidents that we actually have reported in this information that we got from the.
I'm not sure how
State.
much grant funding you get it, because it's usually.
We
tied to
won't get,
accidents.
we won't get any based on this, we're like bottom,
Yeah,
which is great, right? I mean, it's good, because we don't wanna have the accidents, but, we definitely would not qualify for a grant based on that. But still looking at what we can do, I mean, there's roundabouts that are way different than ours, in between the lanes, they've got islands in between the lanes, and taking them down to one lane instead of 2 lanes, and just different ideas and things like that.
Well, that inside lane being able to take a right at the grocery store is a bad idea.
Right,
I've seen some almost accidents there a few times.
yeah,
Both at the grocery store in South on Point Brown, it's just, how many times I've been in there and not expecting the person on the inside lane to take that Point Brown exit. But as long as you're in your lane, it's not a big deal.
A lot of
Big
times-
problem in America, we don't know how to use traffic circles in America. So,
the one that I, long term, if we were to read, it would be the one that's there at the, going down.
Oh, that.
Closer to the
needs
beach
to be
approach.
done.
Yeah, and I talked to them about that as well.
That could use a roundabout,
That
Yeah.
needs, it really does, it does.
because nobody waits for
No one
Or you
understands it.
stop in the middle.
People, everyone who's local understands it, but out of towners don't understand what you're supposed to do.
And it's used a ton by out of town.
That's the problem, because it's the
During
beach
peak,
approach. No,
yeah.
that's the one that if I was to like make a suggestion that we move forward.
Do that
it would be
one
that
first.
one.
the, Ireland has the roundabouts labeled where you can't miss which way to go.
I should.
Probably because all the Americans and you gotta go this way around it,
Or-
right? Instead of this way.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's pretty easy. So is that possible? How do we get that? How would we get that on a schedule to look at? For a roundabout?
It would obviously be a very big and expensive project. It wouldn't be cheap, and it would require like a traffic study, obviously. I'd have to run it by the WCIA as to how we do it. I don't know what.
One of the first things we're gonna need to do is put a traffic counter up, and they're gonna wanna, because that's what he had talked about, is a traffic counter up during peak and non-peak hours. So I can look at getting a traffic counter, because we were gonna put one at this roundabout, so I should,
Do you have one?
we have one, but it's the one that for the city, and I don't know that we wanna take that one down, so, no.
Should have a directional one there if they made one at that point, because I see people going the wrong way there.
Oh, so we can see how it's being used incorrectly.
Instead of going past that island, they take a
Yeah.
left right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that too, yeah.
But-
No, I just wondered how we could get it on our radar to take a look at that.
Make it a priority at your council.
That would be,
Yeah.
my suggestion.
Yeah,
Got
that's a
so
discussion.
many other priorities.
That's
so-
the problem. It's like we have so many projects moving forward right now. that I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna quit.
Well, we're gonna get a bunch done.
I know,
Have new ones to move forward with,
you do.
you know.
You have Mason on your board at
I've
one
got
point.
25 right now.
25 now, okay.
No, I just wanna put it on the radar.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but we'll start with the traffic counter, and yeah, to have it on the radar. We can get it on the work plan, and then it can come up at council as a discussion item, and then we
In
can,
long term, you might,
okay,
I mean, long term, you might wanna put that in part of your plan, if we're gonna put sidewalks down Point Brown finally and get that done, then you would also have a section that would address
Yeah,
that overall traffic issue.
okay.
we're looking at that next year, so it's in the budget for next year.
All right,
Well, we're gonna be budgeting for 25, 26, right? Biennium budget in July, we do that, I think Andy said, so we could talk about maybe this and some of that or, okay. Capital facilities plan, super excited, Amoresco is here now.
fire department.
They started late last week, was he?
Yeah, I'll put it on all day.
I met him today at the bathrooms in Chinook Park to show him the new bathrooms out there. So anyway, he's here, he's reviewing our buildings, and Scott and I also met with Amoresco online to look at some of the templates and different things that they have for us. And just moving forward, they still think that they'll be able to have our reports ready, initial in mid-November. That's, oh my gosh, in a couple weeks, probably, because then we'll be done with the studies.
How,
And then final report, end of the year, beginning of the year, I would expect.
Yay.
Yeah. So,
are they gonna do, that seems like a lot of work to go in and really project maintenance and the status of.
so they have a rating system. They showed us the templates that they use, and it's really pretty slick. They have a rating that it simplifies it, and we'll have them come and talk to council and pretty much give the same discussion. But the rating system is 1 to 10 for these certain areas, and then 1 to 100 for these other areas that aren't worth as many points, which I know that sounds backwards, but it makes sense when you see it. The template, and then for every building, they just plug in the numbers. Will just plug it. He probably goes back to his hotel room at night and plugs in at the end of the day and plugs in the numbers for each building that he saw based on.
It would be a good
what
idea
he
to show
reviewed.
council that, like,
Mhm.
to show what the process actually is.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting, I thought
Yeah,
it was good.
it was great. I mean, the templates really break it down and make it so that you can see visually what they're doing and where they're getting their numbers from. And that's what feeds the reports that we can pull online.
They're a great company.
Yeah, they've been good to work with.
Yeah.
In the final analysis is the capital facilities plan only going to involve buildings, or is it going to involve some of the new equipment like the public works and stuff, or it's just building?
Yeah, it's structure.
Yeah, they're structured, just structured.
Yeah, I don't call them structure, because they're not just buildings. I mean,
Yeah, structures make sense.
Oh.
Your equipment rental and stuff should be separate.
They also they sent us a list of per square foot costs for buildings that we'll get back to them. And that's how they come up with, what they think costs are gonna be for maintenance and rebuilding and things like that, and new building needs. They add a 35% contingency for soft costs, which is, I think, great, and we can change the contingency. They do a flat 35% contingency for everything, but if we were to think something like, okay, a library should have only a 10% contingency because there's really no soft cost for a library. I'm just saying that off the top of my head, that's not true. We could do that. We could change any building we wanted to and change a contingency, because maybe there's something where we wouldn't need an engineer for a building or one of our structures, and we could just take the contingency out or lower it, and it wouldn't have to be 35 or something where we knew there would be a whole lot more, because we're doing something from scratch, so we would need a huge.
So rather than me assuming, please define soft cost.
Soft cost is everything outside of your construction costs, so it would be your engineering fees, any legal fees, things like that. Anything else on capital facilities? Chinook Park, we are having Roslyn's out there, they were out there today measuring, but they're gonna be doing the ADA ramp, sidewalk and parking stall. Should be done Monday by the end of the day. So they'll get that done, we should be able to open on Tuesday. Which would be exciting. Police department is going to install a heater for us, which is awesome. So we don't think we're gonna have to winterize it. Fingers crossed. We don't think we're going to have to.
But there's a thought that just occurs. When it freezes, the electricity goes out. And so if we winterize, or if we rely on the heating we was talking about, the chances of the heating going out when we need it.
Well, it'll be warm, so so it won't freeze. That's what the heater's for.
And what's gonna drive the heater? Electricity. When electricity goes out. Maybe I'm missing something here. If
Maybe
there's-
I am. It's like.
You can lose electricity in a windstorm.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
mean, if you let it sit there for 3 months, then it's gonna be a problem.
Or 3 days.
Yeah.
Have we ever had electricity out for 3 days?
If it's cold enough to freeze.
Not
Yeah,
yet, but I hear it
exactly,
happens.
which is very rare.
So I'm expecting it to happen.
except for
Yeah, very.
the other morning.
It was cold, it wasn't freezing.
Yeah.
My car was frozen over, not this morning, but the morning before, both my
Or
cars.
on the windshield.
frozen solid.
Yeah, my windshield was frozen.
Yes, was, mine wasn't, because he parks the other way.
Must've been the tree or something that kept me from doing that.
Maybe.
But the heated seats came on, so I knew it was cold.
But yeah, I mean, Chinook Park is going well. That's the last piece that we've got other than the playground equipment. Which we'll see. Most likely we'll be installing that since we've already got some frost. The ground's gonna freeze soon.
Did the benches come in? I haven't been.
The benches are supposed to be here November first, I think Kristen said, November first or second. And the streets department is going to receive them, build them and install them. She's gonna let them know where to put the ones in the park. Obviously, the ones in the dog park are gonna go where the concrete pads are. Yeah,
And speaking of, because I haven't been out there in a week, are the benches in at the Dune Trail yet?
yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
Yeah, and if you go out there, the garbage cans and the benches and the dog waste stations. And the dog waste stations I didn't see installed, but they should have also been put in.
I was gonna do one more hike tomorrow, so I'll go out and get the one.
The garbage cans are, like, they're a nice big rock, heavy 600+ pound garbage can, concrete, with an opening on the top. If you go out there and you don't see it, cause Sean was like, that's not gonna work. There is one of this is the top of the garbage can with the opening. There is one of those things, metal, that goes over it to keep the birds and the bears and the rain out.
This is where,
On the Dune
Dune
Trail.
Trail.
on the Dune Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew the benches were supposed to be delivered, like, and I just didn't know if they'd been installed yet. So.
Yeah. okay.
So it's not that you didn't say it, it's that some words I have trouble hearing the sounds, and so I lose the word.
I'll accentuate to the best of my ability.
Thanks.
Okay, and then streets master plan, did I talk about this last meeting?
No, I don't believe. so.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I wasn't sure and I didn't pull the agenda. So what I want to do and take it to council, I don't know if I'll do it next meeting or the meeting after, because there's not a huge rush. I just want to I want to have an RFQ come into us, I don't know, end of the year, beginning of January, to do a streets master plan. We don't have a streets master plan. So I want to talk to council and see how they feel about that.
And do you want to explain like what they've offered? Go ahead.
Yep, so Scott and I talked with Kinley Horn, who's done our pavement drive-throughs, pavement preservation. Tell us where we should stripe and things like that, if there's anything off of our schedule different. And we said, okay, what other things can you add to that? And they said, well, when we do our drive-bys, we're recording everything. So everything on the side of your streets, on your streets, we can capture. If you need, we can do a report showing like all of your signs and what signs need to be replaced and make recommendations about what other signs you need. And I mean, that was one of the things. So we asked them to include the signs. They can do like you need more gravel on the side of the roads in these certain areas. I didn't ask them for that. But they did give us a proposal for $100,000. And then I thought, based on the things that Scott and I asked him for, and I thought, okay, let's just, as many things as are on here, we should do a full big picture master plan for the streets. And something that goes 5 to 10 years, because we don't have anything like that. instead of just every year qualifying somebody to give us a streets report for a year.
I like it.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. And
Well,
that-
anything we could do so that we're better prepared budgetary.
Exactly, that's what,
Yeah,
that's
and that's what we're going for
We
tonight.
identify those critical.
Yeah, and they had a couple things in there that weren't included, and that said not included, because we didn't ask for it. And I can't remember what they were, but one of the things I asked them was, if we wanted information about Ocean Shores Boulevard, for instance, where we have all the dips in the road, and what I've been told is that it's because there's original logs sinking on the sand under the roads, and it would have to all come out and all these things. I said, what kind of a service would we need for that? And he said, well, one of these things that's not included here is what you would need for that. And I said, oh, great, and you guys do that too. So when I do the RFQ, that will be included in there, because I would like to include everything that we think we would need. And that's also why, with council, I would just like to get more information and have discussion about what all should we have in there.
When are you thinking you wanna bring this forward?
What do you guys think about the second meeting in November?
Okay.
So as you talked about signs, and, I immediately thought of the bright lights, when I left the council meeting last Monday. And heading towards the bright light at the Shell station, or you turn the corner and head towards Sunnyside Cafe.
Yeah,
When that sign is on its bright mode, it is blinding. In the right set of perfect storm, somebody's gonna get run over, just like happened here at.
Yeah.
Wherever.
they said streetlights.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would include like business lights and personal lights, but I know they can do streetlights.
Well, and my point is there's those bright lights, those are two
Yeah.
definite safety issues. Right adjacent to the roundabout. And the right circumstances is blinding.
Right.
Right.
So Richard, you did a light meter.
I did.
at one time.
I did, and I gave all that information to the city, and the complication. It's a relatively easy, but a little bit time consuming to measure the amount of light. And then the planning commission got all hung up on what exactly would the procedure be. But it's all actually, it wasn't the procedure. I quoted the national standard for this many lumens or whatever the measurement is. And the planning commission got hung up on, do we want to accept that national standard? But that's a national standard. That seems pretty simple to me. And then who would do it? Well, it seems to me that the cop on duty would do it, because it's just a $40 light meter, and it's not, it's a particular kind of light meter. This has been so long that I don't remember. It has a ball on the top, and the ball reads the amount of light hitting it instead of the amount of reflected light. And that sounds more complicated than it really is. But if the standard for this distance from the light source is this many lumens, and you exceed that, you're in violation. It just seems pretty simple to me. And I don't know any other way to monitor that, besides a subjective, that light's too bright. But I can go back and look up that section if the city's interested in enforcing a light standard on business signs.
The only one I know that's brighter than anything else in town.
Well, Sunnyside, and the first time I noticed it was Monday at the council, heading east on Chance, and there's a big light. I think of what used to be the chicken wings, but it's a great big spotlight that's just aimed right at the traffic circle. It hit me right smack in the face. I had to put my hand up in order to see the street.
Can't see the street very good when your hand's in front of your eyes. so.
And I could see it better than that bright light poking me in the eyeball.
I come through a lot at night and I've never noticed. It's not ever bothered me.
Well,
I've seen it be bright, but I haven't seen it like making it like I'm gonna go off the road or something.
Monday was the first time I noticed it, so
Maybe they just knew you were coming through the roundabout.
maybe, or maybe the lights new, or maybe it's getting darker earlier. And so it's finally dark
That
enough.
that type of sign could have a brightness adjustment on it that we can, that type of sign usually has a brightness adjustment on it. So we
The
could
the
just talk to
Sunnyside does have,
the owner. you know.
yes, the Sunnyside does have,
I think it's changing anyway to a business.
and it may, you know, it may be so far down on the priority list that it's not worth dealing with at this.
Always
I'm
pick up
just
the
saying,
phone
somebody
now.
could talk to them and say, can you crank it down a couple
Yeah.
notches? And then the whole thing goes away.
That's possibly, yeah. It's not gonna go.
Mhm.
Keep it simple.
Okay,
That's all I've got.
any other questions from council members?
What's going on with the skate park?
Kristen is working with the manufacturer on warranty and next steps.
We're gonna have, I wonder if we'll have that on other pieces
Yeah, I saw
out
that.
there.
Oh, is it gonna happen to other pieces?
I'm just curious if it would or not.
They don't think so. She and Gary don't think so because the half pipe's the only one that has the boards that meet like that, and that's where it's happening.
Yeah.
So,
I stopped by because I was dropping off glass and I seen it was all roped off.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's that?
I went and took pictures and it was like, when I was there, it was a quarter inch
Yeah.
buckled in some spaces and, yeah.
So did they give us stuff that wasn't weatherproof?
I don't know yet. That's what they're
That's
telling
the
me.
thing I thought about.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, we've gotten some rain now and all of a
It's-
sudden we're getting some,
it's supposed to be the same stuff that
Warping
they
in it.
have in Hawaii, that, you know, they get lots of rain in marine climate, so at least they're talking through that.
oh, okay.
We use the right pressure treated wood and everything. Okay, so.
Well, I don't see that in anything we did.
Right.
I don't know.
Uh,
It's
manufacturer
smaller
issue.
area.
Yeah,
Dollar.
Is it the underlayment that's working, or is it the, what do they call it, the skate surface?
I'd say it's the stuff underneath the lane, I don't know, I didn't get on there
It did it.
jump upstairs,
and look at
The
it.
actual surface is warped.
It's, yeah, it's warped, but that top piece is pretty thin, so
Right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's a piece underneath, but I didn't look at it that close.
didn't we notice it night before council?
it was Monday night.
It was Monday night, 'cause you and I were
took
both-
pictures,
You went out
yeah.
there, we were scrambling around, and of course, Sean Pease was out, and then Jay Dudley had already got home. and-
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, oh,
Yeah, the police route.
but the issue that the police put up their police tape, so I'm glad, I was really surprised on Facebook for that, in a room where someone been killed.
I just noticed it today.
Oh, I was waiting for it. trust me. It's not too late, start one now.
Right off the press.
No, but then it was been replaced by a regular.
actually surprised it had.
Yeah.
Well, someone posted something today on the.
Oh, did they? Well, I haven't been on.
Not the
today,
caution
but-
tape, though, just the work, they showed the work.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's a shame.
All right,
all right, thank you, everyone,
all right, thanks.
thank you, Becky.
You have a question?
I'm just, we can, after. I just, with the street